Get Warrior Tough, Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman on 105.5 The Roar. Back to Andrew Wittman.
All right, we're back, and we're about to tell folks how to be perfect and maximize your 45% of your message getting across on the phone. But before we do that, Chris, how long scientifically does it take before we make a first impression?
I would say maybe seconds.
Yeah, and this is I'm going to quote the Association of Psychological Science right now. Okay, they say within a tenth of a second, we make a judgment and form our first impression within a tenth of a second.
That's surprising. I'd say maybe 1 or 2, but wow,
that's how fast we are our brain is like. And now, how long do we have before the average human being decides whether to give you their attention or not? How long do you think that takes before we decide we're going to give somebody our attention?
Not much longer then.
Yeah, 7 seconds is the max. And I think it's getting shorter because have you ever been driving down, this never happened here on WCCP, but I when I'm out of the area, because I'm always listening to WCCP when I'm in the area, but I'm out of the area, I was listening to like a country station. I was up near the Canadian border, and they were playing a Toby Keith song. And as soon as it went off, there was like a French DJ. And I was like, what just happened? They're talking French after beer and wine and horses.
Really?
Right. So, but now, if I was listening to that and I'm driving and the radio goes dead right in the middle of the song, what am I doing next?
I mean, immediately noticing it, I'm sure.
And then what do you do if it doesn't come back on?
You switch the channel?
You're switching the channel. So dead air, we're off of it. I don't even think it takes 7 seconds. But 7 seconds, we go to dead air, we're on to the next thing. So we will move our attention within 7 seconds.
You know, I've been working here, interning, or now kind of full-time post-grad for probably a year and a half, and the first thing they said, make sure there's never a second of dead air. That's
even 1 second.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like, that's like
it's the kiss of death.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so now imagine we are, as humans do that as soon as we decide. Now, have you ever been flipping channels?
I've done that a few times.
Okay, now when I was growing up, now this is old, I'm old, but we had 4 channels.
Right.
We had ABC, CBS, NBC,
yeah,
and PBS.
I didn't get cable until I was in high school.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
The choices were not that hard. So when you're flipping channels, you can go around the horn pretty quick.
Right.
Now we got the cable and the satellite. There's like 100 channels on there.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous how much choice we have.
If you're not looking and picking out and you're just going around the horn, have you ever done that channel surfing, they call it?
Yes.
How long before you stick on something?
You know, probably a couple seconds.
Couple of seconds. So they say the average is 7 seconds whether you grab the hook and now I've got your attention. So as a sales rep or as a communicator, whenever I'm communicating with someone, I know I have 7 seconds to grab you. And then you decide whether you're going to give me your attention or not. So that's 14 words. So on the phone, I have to know exactly what the 14 words I'm going to say that get your attention before I ever pick up the phone.
And they can't sound rehearsed and robotic either, though.
No, but they need to be scripted out and rehearsed a million times.
So that's tough.
Yeah. So now when I call it being on the stump because I ran for Congress, right? So, but when I'm out doing my speeches and my training, I have 7 seconds to grab. So I know, but the first impression. So I have my suit and my tie on. I'm greeting people. Hey, how are you? I'm so glad to see you. Hey, I'm Andrew. What's your name? Tell me your name. And then I tell their name back. And then if I have time, I'll ask them, tell me your story. And I'm warming up the crowd. So that when I get up there, we already have warm fuzzy because they were glad to see me. But I have 7 seconds. 7 seconds. So I have a scripted line. I'll either I'm going to start with a funny story, no matter what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But the first words out of my mouth are, good morning. Good morning. That's 2 words. When I was home from Afghanistan, I got you. Good morning. So by Afghanistan, they'd be like, man, I wasn't expecting to hear that in a leadership class or a mental toughness class. Or I'll say when I was home from Kosovo. And all those are true. It was when I was home from those. But what I did is I used the psychology. If I know I have 7 words to grab your attention.
I like it.
Did I sound like I was rehearsed? Hey, good morning, Chris. When I was home from Afghanistan.
No, it sounds natural.
Right, because you got to just practice it over and over and over and over and over again until it is natural. But you should have that already as a sales rep or anybody that you want to communicate and you want to maximize your time on the phone. You have to know what those words are because that's 7% of the message. You got to know, and you got to know, am I going to grab your attention? Now, interesting thing, when you're on the phone, I can use my tone of voice, but words are still important.
Right.
Okay? So I need to know that word that's going to hook you. Now, tone of voice is 38% of the message.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you're just talking to somebody on the phone that you don't know and they're talking like, hey, blah, you're not paying attention. You're not interested, and you're not invested in the conversation.
Right, Bueller, anyone. Something, economics, voodoo, red eyes, dry eyes. Right, that guy made a whole career out of that, and we're laughing at it, but it's because we've all been in those classes. You were like, what? And you fell asleep and you're drooling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so as a sales rep, not only do I want to capture your attention with my, in the first 7 seconds, I got to keep it, and the way I can keep it is with how I am sounding. Now, are you excited? Are you bringing the energy that makes me want to be? Now, let me ask you, I use Eeyore because I had, my kids they're big now, but they were little Eeyores like, hey, Chris, how's it going? Right? Do you want to be around a doom and gloom person?
No.
Nobody does. Even if you feel bad, even if you are that person that you really don't want to feel that way.
Right.
Nobody does. So when I'm going to get on the phone, I'm going to be very upbeat, and I'm going to make sure. Now, how can you change your tone of voice? Is by doing what? What am I doing right now? If you're on the radio, you know what I just did.
You can smile.
I smiled. Because your tone of voice completely changes when you smile. You can't be mad while you're smiling. Now, remember I talked about posture and attitude. Do you know you can make yourself smile even when you don't feel like it?
How do you do that?
Okay, if you take a pen and you bite it with your teeth for 2 minutes, you're activating the same muscles and nerve endings that are activated when you smile. And your brain doesn't know the difference. Your brain goes, hey, we're smiling. They did studies, and the empirical data says that within 2 minutes, your mood improves.
So you're saying you can trick yourself?
Absolutely. I can get my body to make myself, that's part of attitude, just like changing my shoulders. I can bite that pen, make my facial muscles activate into a smile for 2 minutes before the phone call, and now I've activated that's a happy mood, and it starts to excrete the hormones that make me be in a good mood.
That's pretty awesome. I can just see it now. It's a Monday morning, first couple calls, sitting there with a pen in my mouth. Supervisor comes over. Chris, what are you doing? I'm
Right?
trying to get my mojo going. Just let it happen. Let me smile and let me get ready for a day of work. Getting on the phone, meaning business.
Right. Now you got to bite it in your teeth, because if you do it with your lips like this, right, what are you doing? You're activating all the muscles of frown, so don't suck it with your lips, man. You got to bite it with your teeth, okay? But that's just another trick on how you could be perfect on the phone. Now, also, when I'm on the phone and I'm speaking, now I'm in the radio studio, so I'm sitting in the chair because that's how it is. But if I was on the phone for somebody and it's a big call, and I'm making a sales call, because I have to make those in my business, and I'm talking to a CEO, a decision maker, that this could be like a potentially 6-figure, 7-figure contract. I dress the part. I still wear my white shirt and my red tie, like I'm in front of that CEO. And then I stand up and I make sure that my posture is right. And here's the other thing is I point my toes towards the speaker. Now, if you and I were in person right now, I'm sitting, so I'm pointing my knees towards you.
Right.
What it does is it opens up my posture, and it shows that I'm open. Now, have you ever heard of the dog whisper?
I have, but I'm not quite
Okay.
sure.
So a lot of people think that dogs smell fear. Have you
Okay.
heard that? The dog smells fear?
Yes.
That's not what they do, but they're students of human body language.
Hmm.
So what the dog does is mirror you. Now, even if you're just back a quarter of an inch looking for an exit, you might not even know it consciously, but the dog says, hey, we're looking for an exit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you act fearful, they'll look at your body posture and go, we should be scared. Now, this happened to my kids when they were little. There'd be a thunderstorm, and they would get scared in the thunderstorm. I said, is Daddy scared? They said, no, sir. I said, then you shouldn't be scared. But if Daddy gets scared, you should be really scared. Because what we do, people are like dogs. We mirror behavior.
Right.
Now, if I did this, what'd you just do?
Kind of relax a little bit.
Yeah, you relax too. You're going to mirror my behavior. Now, CEO of me, I'm in charge, right? I'm going to make sure that my body language, you mirror it, that I don't mirror yours. So if you're all cranked up in your body language, I'm going to open up and just relax. So what I do is I point my toes towards the speaker, my palms are out facing forward, and I'm showing you that I'm open and receptive, which is I'm hoping what you will be is open and receptive. But I still do that on the phone even though the person's not in front of me, because it's going to convey in my tone of voice. So when you're at work and you're in your cubicle, you're going to be standing up, all dressed and decked out.
Yeah,
You're going to point your toes towards the wall like that person was standing in front of you. Go ahead.
I had a phone interview yesterday, and yeah, you're right. I stand when I have a serious conversation. I didn't even realize that, but Yeah, and I mean, that whole conversation, I was standing outside by my car with my notepad and,
So you were doing this instinctively.
Right.
Right, and see, that's what we want to use it for our advantage. And know that we do it, and now how can I prime it, even take it to the next level is, you dress the part, you have your body posture open like you're doing it, you get your smile going, and now I can work my magic with my tone of voice, but I have my entire being, my body, my mind, and my emotions working to communicate, and I'm going to maximize that 45%. I'm not giving up 1 percentage point by being in my bunny slippers, because I work with sales reps, and I work with people that are inside sales reps, and they'll be like, why do we got to dress nice? Right? Like, you could come in your bunny slippers and your curlers and your bathrobe. I just want to work from my house and do that. Even if I work from my house, I want to dress for success because it makes me feel better, and so my tone of voice is going to be better, how I act is going to be better, and the words I pick are be better.
Right. During final exams at Furman, always at least a button down and khakis, dress well, test well.
Right? No, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great. It's the truth.
I mean, when you feel good, when you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you play good.
Exactly right. And this is the same thing with communication. See, a lot of people thought communication was just, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Right. No, that's
course.
just the words. The words is 7%. There's a lot that goes into this. What am I saying by how I'm groomed? What am I saying by what I wear? What am I saying by how I hold my body posture? What am I saying with my facial expressions? What am I saying with my tone of voice? And then the last thing is the words we use. We got it backwards, man. We thought that was the first thing and the most important thing. It's actually the least important thing. Now, I travel a lot. I travel a lot, and I've been overseas a lot. I've been in places where, English is not their first language. And I've deployed to Japan, mainland Japan. I didn't know Japanese, and not everybody knows English. It's amazing how when we cross-trained with their defense forces, how much you could get across without the words. Because it's only 7%.
Yeah, my little cousin just spent 6 weeks in Italy and Germany. Speaks a little German, no Italian. And, he stayed with an Italian family for 3 weeks, and he said a lot of, the interactions, at first, they didn't quite understand how to communicate, but by the end of it, food, eating meals was fine. What he needed, when he's going to bed or laundry, it worked out. And even though no English, no Italian, no problem.
Still got it done, exactly. And I think a lot of times we forget that, and we get the cart before the horse.
Right.
And we need to work on the other stuff first, because we're saying a ton of stuff. Now, we think it's outside of our consciousness, and a lot of times it is. So you're seeing and picking up on things like, what am I doing right now?
What are you doing right now?
Yeah, what are you seeing me do right now? I'm putting my hand where?
You've put it down?
Well, you can't see because we're under the thing, but I got it on my heart.
Oh, okay.
So when I put my hand on my heart, your grandma ever tell you this? Bless your darling heart, Chris.
Yes.
What's she saying?
She's just, I probably did something wrong.
Right. This happened to me at Thanksgiving one year. My grandma, somebody spilled their milk.
Mm.
And she said, bless her darling heart. I said, Grandma, I think you just called him stupid. She said, honey, I think you're right. But when you put your hand on your heart, what you're saying is, I'm being sincere. I'm not trying to.
Right.
So
kind of softening the blow.
Yes, and we say this in the South, too. Say, know my heart on this. Know my heart.
Right.
Know my heart, Chris. Don't spill your milk. Right? So
Try
when you
not
put
to.
right, that's something that's outside your conscious. But when we put our hand on our heart, what we're saying is, I'm very sincere. I have nothing to hide. I'm telling you from my heart that I'm very sincere and I'm not lying and I'm being honest and as much as and know that I love you. Just with that simple thing there. So when I ever have to say something harsh, I always put my hand on my heart like Grandma.
Right.
And the words that she chose was bless your darling heart, which really means you're just stupid. You just did something wrong, like you said. You did something. We look at them, we pity them. Oh, right. And but when you do that and you put your hand on your heart and you say it like that, you take the edge off. And what happens is now we don't have a conflict in our communication. We haven't ramped up somebody. You ever have somebody push your buttons?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to talk about that when we get back from break. All right. All right, buddy. Let's take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk about the 3 responses to any communication that you have.
All righty.
101 on 105.5 The Roar. Do you want to be Warrior Tough? Do you want your employees to be Warrior Tough too? With abilities to handle difficult situations as a well-oiled machine?
Andrew Wittman has been teaching leadership, discipline, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and mental toughness for 30 years. His seminars build strong working relationships, high-performance teams, effective communication and crisis and conflict management skills. He'll change the way you look at yourself, your company, your job, your life. He is dynamic, engaging, and stimulating in his presentation, and he can help you build and develop the leadership skills and high-performance skills needed for your team. He'll give you the tools that will not only increase the positive product output in business, but in your personal life as well. To get complete information on how Andrew can help you, call 864-977-1772 or log on to GetWarriorTough.com.